I used to believe that there were things to believe in, things of beauty and ugliness for me to get emotional over. I thought so much of what is and what should be, caught in a way of being that was untrue to the greatest essence achievable to man. And even though I may have been aware of this condition, I remained unchanged and justified in my pit of blindness, unwilling to open up and see the kaleidoscopes of reality. I would have hated to think I was ever wrong, but my problem was in thinking, not me at all. We chewed the mushroom slowly, not knowing what to expect. My buddy remarked on the stale taste. Not much happened for the next 30 minutes, but soon after, things began to creep up and slow down. We wandered into the endless vast landscapes of yellow-green fields, shimmering in the golden fleeting rays of the thick, sweet, and rich sunlight. It began to shift into a sight unknown, an indistinguishable array of blending colors, sounds, emotions, smells, and tastes you could touch. I sank it all in and learned to be less exclusive with my focus as 360-degree views splashed my brain with a newfound way to skip past the surface. It was then that I realized that my beliefs were like tiny little bubbles. All are enclosed, but give the illusion of a paradise separate as opposed to an isolation bubble within a much bigger bubble, isolated also. Right there and then I moaned for man. I wept for myself, Christ, the slaves, Native Americans, and modern man whose only goals seem to lie within leaving this beautiful planet they've polluted and exploited to migrate to a new one to destroy. Like a dream, I sailed through visions of incredible Rocky Mountain cliff views in down brown desert gardens, to horrific scenes of money bag rat racing eagle lunatics marching across the lands with pocketbooks and bulldozers, selling and destroying dreams with crucifixes, badges, and high technology, burning paths through rainforests and snuffing life as it comes and goes. Suddenly, reality unfolded right before my eyes. The world stopped, broke into shattered fragments, and slowly reassembled. During reassembly, I experienced plant and animal identification, phylogenetic episodes, oneness with life and all creation. I found myself lying down, with my buddy doing the same not far away. An extraordinary clarity came to me then. I saw things with a clearness that I had never experienced before. It was all so very clear. I was a distracted person. I saw myself as a cow in the big herd. All I ever wanted to know was what was within the fence. In fact, until that day, I didn't even know there was a fence. I'm sure I was aware of it at a deep level, but was always taught to defend my position as a pawn, island hopping my life away with opinions, beliefs, judgments, and equations. I'm sure that for those who saw the big picture, I must have seemed stubbornly chained to a description of reality taught to me by other clueless, familiar grasping humans who believe they've got it good, so they pity or put down others. I couldn't believe how much I clutched to my specific area. Even though it was only one area among trillions, I actually thought mine was special and more equal than others. And why? Because I am aware of myself. I can think, talk, act, and build. In a monstrous, unknowable universe, I could have actually said I was more equal and better off than a mule. How dare I? I then saw myself in the future if I continued to live that way. A victim or a tyrant with a big ego and a hell of a lot to lose. One who would never finish anything and drain himself of all energy. One who would probably find an insane pleasure drowning himself in solids and fixated points, avoiding fluidness and freedom. Yet another sad person, unknowingly destroying the unfamiliar, the free-flowing human spirit, and any chance of a multicultural utopia, a paradise on earth. I decided right there and then that it wasn't going to happen to me. Life is too short and death too near for me to waste time until my deathbed so I could look back and have regrets. I realized that the speck of microscopic dust which we call life is just enough to burst into joy with song and dance, celebrating with toasts the final dance of life, reflecting the ripe young days of liquid summer when everything was alive. Every leaf a wavering, vein-lined, moist entity. Days when bleeding apple greens and October pumpkin oranges shade and recede like rainbow chameleons in damp, misty woods, complete with trippy, blending, camouflage nature skin, making them indistinguishable from their surroundings. I'm talking about worlds within a drop of water, eternal life within the flame. A feeling of knowing from a rocky outcrop. Infinity vision and relentless flight tangled in the whispers of the wind, which casts endlessly over the setting sun and lapping seas forever on within itself, from the tips of the taken for granted to the bowels of the mysteries that'll never be solved. Much of the experience, I think, has to do with realizing that it's too late before it's too late. Becoming aware of how man, born into a world naturally attuned to support his life conditions, simply can abuse and take for granted this special gift and end up killing himself in silly displays of self-destruction. It should be our unbending intent to obtain as much creative freedom as possible and to live simple and fluid lives so as to allow the abstract to use us as conduits to express itself and manifest these things we call knowledge and wisdom.